Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot of important news to talk about today. There's been some really big announcements regarding Classic World of Warcraft Season of Discovery. Like, many announcements, actually. Holy. I don't know what happened yesterday, man. Like, I haven't seen this many news regarding WoW ever. Like, it's a lot of new information. I have over here the Wowhead news article. Look at this. These are all insanely important posts that we gotta go over. All of them. We can start with the Season of Discovery Phase 2 preview, quality of life runes, raid loot, PvP events. There's a video, guys, we're gonna watch, okay? There's some really announcements. Oh boy, there's putting so much drama right now on the forums about this. Let's just say I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that, okay? There's a 32-minute video. Wait, what? It's unlisted. Can I watch this? Is this allowed? Hold on. Let me turn off the WoW music. Okay, it is unlisted. It's kind of weird. Phase 2 preview.
Hi, I'm Linny Cook Saverline, and I'm a producer
Hi.
on WoW Classic. Back at BlizzCon, we had the absolute pleasure of finally sharing Season of Discovery with you all, and we've loved watching all of the new challenges you've overcome, the meta you've created, and the adventures you've all had in Phase 1. And now we'd like to chat with you about Phase 2. Today we're going to do a brief overview of some of the new adventures in store for you. Our topics today include information about our new 10-player raid Gnomeregan, dungeon updates, rune ability updates, PvP updates, profession updates, and more.
So basically, this is just like when you're at BlizzCon and they tell you about the new expansion, what's going to be in it with a PowerPoint presentation. It's like the same layout.
Which should help answer some of the questions we've gotten around our previous phase and where we're going with the new one.
So much like Blackfathom Deeps, Gnomeregan will be a 10-player raid. There will be 6 bosses. There were originally 5 bosses in Gnomeregan if you didn't count the Dark Iron Ambassador. So there's one more new boss that no one's ever fought before.
Okay.
And of course, redesigns
New
from
bosses?
the ground up on all of the other bosses. So brand new experience overall. A ton of new rewards and items.
Damn, 3 times the number of epics that BFD had. 100 new items, new item sets, up-leveled quests and rewards.
More epics than we had in Blackfathom Deeps with more sources, different bosses than just the last 2 bosses dropping those. New item sets
Pretty cool.
for classes to pursue. The quests and rewards have been brought up to level 40. And there's a brand new profession quest chain that leads into a pretty deep opportunity for people to find materials and craft a lot of really cool and powerful items. Josh will get into that more down the line. But some of the play spaces have had some changes. For people who aren't familiar with the Grubbus and Chomper encounter, you might notice that there are some radiation vents that weren't here. Those will perhaps play a part in this encounter. Crowd Pummeler is now in a different part of the instance. I wonder what kind of mechanics something that punches you really hard might have to do with being on a platform above a pit of death. Who knows? And there's a lot of excited onlookers ready for you to take on this robot.
That looks pretty cool, man.
And Sicko Thermoplug, last boss of the instance, may have added some additional mechanical suits with different properties to his arsenal, and you'll have to face off against those as well. Getting into a preview of the exciting loot.
Whoa.
There's some nods to old items. I think the one people will notice is the automatic crowd pummeler. No longer will you have to get individual manual crowd pummelers. You'll be able to pick up one and then use it over and over again with the cooldown. So hopefully that's a great quality of life improvement. There's also some fun items that you can pick up. The Trog Transfigurator 3000, little Orb of Deception style transforming into a Trog. Aragriar's
cool.
Whimsical World Warper. Play around with it, see where it takes you in the world. And some fun cosmetic items as well. Here's a look at our set items. You can see that some set items actually have specific set bonuses for some classes. And we also have tokens now that will drop instead of having a gigantic loot list that contains all of the set pieces, and you're getting frustrated if the same set piece drops.
That's pretty cool,
for
man.
a different class.
I
Every
like that.
week we've introduced set piece tokens that
makes
can
a lot
be
of
used by
sense.
everyone for a specific piece of your armor. So you can pick, if whoever loots the boot token will be able to turn that into a vendor to redeem it for their set piece boots. With Gnomeregan,
Yeah, like I think that's good because, like, you know, Horde side, there's only like one plate user, right? So if the plate gear drops all the time, it's just like wasted, you know. I think they had to do this.
there's a couple updates
Yeah,
that we're making
it's
to
good.
dungeons. The first of which are the addition of quality of life skill books. These are skill books that have a chance to drop off of certain creatures in 5-man dungeons, and they add significant quality of life spells to your arsenal that don't take up a rune slot. So we're excited for people to get their hands on these, and hopefully these solve some problems that players have been facing, such as short
redirect
aura durations with paladin blessings, totem control as shaman, rogues being able to have a spell that allows them to manipulate what target their combo points are on, as well as many others that we're excited for players to find when they jump into phase 2.
That's pretty cool, man.
And I'd like to pass off the presentation to Nora to talk more about rune abilities. Thank you very much.
I like that.
Hey, my name's Nora Valletta, and I'm a lead software engineer on WoW Classic. The team is very excited for you to head out and find those new rune abilities coming soon in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. I'm here to give you a sneak peek at some of those abilities, so let's dive in. Paladins. Sheath of Light will cause damage dealt with your melee weapon to also increase your spell power. It'll also cause your critical heals to apply an additional heal over time on the target. Guarded by the Light will cause your melee weapon hits to restore mana over time. However, the amount healed by Flash of Light, Holy Light, and Holy Shock will be reduced by half. Hunters. Melee Specialist is a passive ability which will reduce the cooldown of Raptor Strike, cause it to trigger instantly, and each usage of Raptor Strike has a chance not to trigger its cooldown.
What?
Melee Specialist will also remove the cooldown of Mongoose Bite. Trap Launcher allows you to place traps at any location within 40 yards, and allows you to place your traps while in combat. Additionally, your fire-based and frost-based traps have separate shared cooldowns.
Wow.
Warriors. Rallying Cry is a defensive ability which can be activated to increase the health of all party and raid members within 40 yards.
No one's gonna
Blood
use
Surge
that.
gives some of your abilities a chance to make your next slam instant and cost no rage. Rogues. Use Shuriken Toss to throw a shuriken at your enemy, dealing damage to your target and up to 4 additional nearby targets. Master of Subtlety causes attacks made while stealthed and for a short time after exiting stealth to cause additional damage. Priests. Cast Mind Spike to blast your target with Shadow Frost damage and apply a debuff, which increases the critical strike chance of your next Mind Blast on that target. This debuff can stack up to 3 times. And fan favorite from future expansions, Pain Suppression can be cast on a friendly target to significantly reduce their damage taken and increase their resistance to dispel mechanics for a short time.
That's going to be good at
Warlocks. Invocation. When you refresh some of your damage over time effects while they have less than 6 seconds remaining, instant damage will be dealt to your target equal to 1 tick of that spell's periodic damage. So you no longer have to worry about refreshing your dots at the exact perfect moment. Dance of the Wicked will trigger a buff which increases you and your pet's dodge chance anytime either of you deal a critical strike to an enemy. You'll also both gain 2% of your maximum mana when that happens. Mages. Yeah. Missile Barrage gives your Arcane Blast, Fireball, and Frostbolt spells a chance to reduce the channeled duration of your next Arcane Missile spell by half, reduce its mana cost to 0, and cause missiles to fire every 0.5 seconds. Chronostatic Preservation is a really cool new spell that allows you to store some of your arcane, fire, and frost energy for later use. You can only hold this energy for a short time before it combusts and expires.
Fuses arcane, fire, and frost magic to freeze chronomatic energy into a stored state for later use. You can hold this energy up to 15 seconds before combustion expires. When unleashed, heals a friendly target for 605, 998. This spell is considered arcane, fire, and frost for interactions with other spells, talents, and effects. Cool. I like Missile Barrage.
But you can unleash it to heal a friendly target. Shamans. Maelstrom Weapon causes damage dealt with melee attacks to have a chance to reduce the cast time of your next Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Lesser Healing Wave, Chain Heal, or Lava Burst spell by 20%. The cast time reduction can stack up to 5 times. Spirit of the Alpha is a 30-minute buff that can be cast on a friendly target to increase the threat generated by that target. You can kind of think of it like the opposite of Blessing of Salvation. While some shamans choose to battle with one weapon in each hand, others prefer to dish out devastating blows with a two-handed weapon. If that sounds like you, then we have Two-Handed Mastery. Each time you strike an enemy with a two-handed weapon, you gain 30% attack speed with two-handed weapons for 10 seconds. Anyways, it's time for me to pass things over to Anna Resendes, who will be sharing with you some updates on our new PvP event. Take it away, Anna.
Shamans, bro. It's not going to be enough.
For everyone to discover those new runes. They look amazing. Thank you, Nora. Hello, I am Anna Resendes, and I will talk to you about PvP.
Yay.
In this new level band, we're bringing a new PvP experience to you. You might have seen a little hint on our social media channels about this. So, our new PvP event is called the Blood Moon. The Blood Moon rises in Stranglethorn Vale, bringing with it absolute mayhem. When Ashenvale was created, we talked about how cool it would be for the event to be triggered by player activity in the area. After going through feedback and seeing how Ashenvale played, in this event, we wanted to take a different approach and make it more predictable so you know when the battle will take place. So, the Blood Moon event will happen every 3 hours, and we have a duration of 30 minutes. Believe me, you will be able to tell when the event is happening. The Blood Moon will shine its effect during this time and bring in a mysterious red fog to the area. During this time, the whole zone will become a free-for-all PvP, meaning allies and enemies alike will be viable targets for your blood rage. Everyone that is in the zone during this time will become a target. During the event, killing other players will allow you to earn a currency, which can be traded for various rewards. We'll talk about the rewards in a little bit. You can still group up, but be warned, the Blood Moon does not smile to those that battle in raid groups and will punish you for doing so. There are those, of course, who refuse to give in the thirst of the blood. If it's peace what you seek, you can opt out of the event at any time by talking to the Sandalari emissary. You will not be able to earn any rewards if you opt out, and remember that General Realm PvP zone rules will still apply. Another big difference from Ashenvale is that there won't be any PvE objectives. That said, not only should you be wary of both enemies and allies alike, you should also keep an eye out for the Chosen of the Blood Loa, who will absolutely destroy you. Does Fell River ring a bell? So, you might be
I like that. That's
how
cool.
do I get my hands on that sweet rewards? There will be a merchant outside of Gurabashi Arena that will assist you with this. What about the rewards? Well, there are dozens of new class-specific item rewards. Here are some examples of the new rewards that come with the event. Additionally,
why do you put a 2.3 speed mace? Like, what is this speed, man? Like, come on, dude.
There are new quests that will help with your Arathi Basin reputation journey. Do you want to see more about the cool rewards? What about a new car? Well, okay, not exactly a car.
2 new mounts.
Yes,
nice.
You're seeing correctly. There will be 2 new faction agnostic mounts that you will be able to acquire related to this event.
Do they work
These
anywhere?
level 40 mounts have an appearance that is completely new to the game. I hope to see you in the battlefield.
That looks pretty cool,
And up
actually. I
next,
like the
Josh will
Alliance one.
join us and he will talk to you
I
about
guess they work
profession
everywhere.
updates.
Hello, my name is Josh Greenfield, Senior Game Producer on WoW Classic. Let's dive right in and talk about what we're going to be doing with professions in Phase 2. I want to start by saying that we've been really thrilled with the reception to our Professions editions in Phase 1. It was really exciting watching people sort of discover and unlock how to create your awesome, void touch leather gloves and your extra planar spider silk boots and all those things. And we're going to go ahead and expand on this quite a bit for Phase 2. There will be around 20 new recipes across all non-gathering professions. This also includes not just leatherworking, tailoring, and blacksmithing, but also alchemy, enchanting, and engineering as well. So we're
Jesus, 20 new recipes across all non-gathering professions, new epic helmets, new enchants, new engineering items, explosives, new alchemy recipes, new quest chain to unlock. Okay. That's a lot more than we had in Phase 1.
Everyone gets something really cool this time, so that's what we're going to do. Just like in Phase 1, there will be an epic quest chain to unlock this, and we won't spoil anything about that today. You're going to have to get in the game. You're going to have to kind of go through that yourself. But if you liked what we did in Phase 1, you'll probably like this too. Next, I kind of want to talk a little bit about just some of the recipes here. I'm not going to
Hold on. Maybe you guys will see better like this.
Go into super great detail about what each of these are.
Look at this items, man. Like 342 armor, strength, agi, stamina, intellect. Is this meant for like shaman? Improves your chance to hit with spells and with melee and ranged attacks by 1%. Engage the radiation mitigation protocols in this helmet, causing you to immediately remove all active poison effects and gain immunity to all nature damage for 3 seconds. Yo, rip Heli Shaman in PvP. Oh shit, that's I mean, I guess only like a few classes can use this though. Requires low background, true silver plate, shadow oil, faintly glowing leather. That's also new. All of these items are new. Insulating iodine, faintly glowing leather, low background, true silver plates. Maybe shadow oil existed. I think. Here we have another item. 22 more damage and healing. 4 MP5. Harness the latent arcane energy in a nearby air to give you a charged inspiration, reducing the mana cost of all spells by 50% and increasing damage and healing done by up to 50. What? 10-minute cooldown though. Damn, so like if you want to pump on a boss, you need to have this item up. Like if it's on cooldown, you don't have a chance. Yeah, that's what that means. I mean, this is such a huge buff. Like, there's no way, right? Yeah. So people will use that item and then wait 10 minutes for the next boss. Log out for 10 minutes. Yeah. I mean, they used to do this with recklessness. I remember warriors would log out for 30 minutes until recklessness was ready. Now it's 10 minutes. Requires hyperconductive arcanofilament. That's also new. Faintly glowing leather, insulating iodine, vision dust. That's like enchanting, I think. And bolt of mage reef. Okay, so that's like for casters. Here we have stamina intellect plate. So I guess holy pala. Increases damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by up to 21. Gain reinforced willpower, preventing silence, interrupt effects, and spell pushback for 10 seconds. Wow.
And all the stats and everything like that. As you can see, they're very
crazy.
Powerful. But one thing I do want to kind of call out is that you'll notice that a few of the materials required are brand new materials to the game, and a lot of them are used across different professions. Some of these similar new materials. There's definitely going to be a trading and kind of economy aspect to these new professions recipes.
And so hey, if you're a paladin, guys, you probably want to go. Actually, it's hard to say, right? Like, but you probably want to be blacksmithing, no? Unless there's like a leatherworking item that is somehow better for Red Paladin, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know, right? Against, like, I'm assuming there's a plate version of this for DPS, but maybe there's not. Maybe the plate version is for tanking, and then if you want to be DPS Paladin or DPS Warrior, you want to use the leather one, which is not listed here.
And just like everything with Season of Discovery, we're most excited to see how players share resources and information to make these things.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's all we're going to say right now, but we think it's going to be a pretty fun thing to participate in the next phase.
I kind of wish they showed
things
it.
We kind of want to talk about is alchemy and
One sec. Enchanted Sigil Innovation teaches you how to conjure a sigil of innovation. So this is enchanting. You have to be an enchanter to make this. So only enchanters benefit, right? It creates like an item which requires level 40 to 25 enchanting. Gain an enchanted sigil of innovation, empowering you to deal up to 20 increased damage and healing with spells and increase attack power by 20 for 30 minutes. This can only be applied outside of combat. 30-minute cooldown. Wait, so it's like a buff all the time. Yeah, so like you get something. I think this is good though. So like you don't have to be like tailoring, you know, like you can be enchanting if you want and you gain a meaningful buff. It might be worse than being tailoring, but it's something, right? I think that's the point of this. Let's see the alchemy one. Teaches you how to brew a mildly irradiated rejuvenation potion. So it's like a potion that restores mana and health. Also increases attack power by 40 and damage done by spells by 35 for 15 seconds. I mean, I'd rather use the enchanting one, no? But that's pretty cool as well. Yeah. I feel like the enchanting one is way better for casters because you're getting 20 spell power versus 20 attack power. Like spell power is harder to get than attack power. Like way harder to get, right? So this could be honestly best in slot for enchanting. To go enchanting for casters. I don't think you want to go enchanting for the potion is BOE. Oh, it's BOE, so alchemy doesn't get anything. Okay.
Enchanting in particular, you know, when we were looking at what we wanted to do here, we could obviously add more consumables and we can add more enchants for enchanters, and to a degree we did. There are new enchanting material recipes other than what you see here, but one of the things about these professions is that in a lot of cases they don't do a whole lot for your personal throughput. If you're one of these professions, a lot of times you can make things, and a lot of times you can make a lot of gold off of having these professions. But in terms of your actual like damage output or healing output, they don't really bring anything that you can't have someone else craft for you and bring. So that's what we wanted to try here. In particular, if you'll notice on the left side, there's this new Enchanted Sigil Innovation. And what this basically is that this is kind of like a world buff that you can carry around in your bag and give to yourself. And essentially, it has a 30-minute duration, but also a 30-minute cooldown. So if you die early, you will lose this for at least some period before you can put it back on. Same thing with Alchemist here. They have.
I don't get it. Like, why does it only give 20 attack power? This should give like 40 attack power. Like 20 attack power is nothing.
The ability to make this essentially
it's very undertuned for attack power users.
Attack power consumable, and that also restores a little bit of health and a little bit of mana. So that's just something that's a little unique for them this time, and we hope that you like these things.
But anyone can use that potion though, right? Like you can put it on the auction house.
So now that we've kind of gone through and
doesn't make sense.
Phase 2 and some of the things that are coming in it. We do want to kind of, I guess, hit a few of like the frequently asked questions that we've gotten recently about things in Phase 1. And
I think it's alcohol. That's how it should be done.
How we're addressing those, as well as just some curiosities about what else is coming in Phase 2 and how specific things will work.
All right.
So we're going to dive into a few of these kind of FAQ items and try and burn through as many of them as possible to give you a better idea of kind of what's going on and what our thought process on some of this stuff is. So let's just
we'll see it on the website later. If it's on the website.
Today talking about raid schedule. We thought we'd start here because this is a pretty hot debate in the community right now. We've seen a lot of great feedback on this and have weighed a great many perspectives about, kind of when we should release the raid. Should we have it available from day one, or should we wait maybe a week or some other amount of time to unlock it globally at the same time? While it's impossible, we feel, to do something that will make every single person happy, we do think we can strike a bit of a compromise here. We understand that, the server or world first race is not just about who can zone in first. if the, say if the raid unlocks at an arbitrary global time. And for a large group of players, it's also about who can get in the fastest after leveling. And it's very exciting for them to see what they can do when they're under geared or maybe without their full toolkit of runes and other like pre-raid items. And so, that is one argument we've heard in favor of not delaying it. And we think it's a very compelling one. It is very exciting to participate in that and to watch that. On the other hand, though, if you're one of those players, the many players who really like to take their time leveling, we realize that 3-day lockout puts you in a position where you may miss several lockouts before you hit 40. And while it's pretty unlikely to actually matter all that much in the long run, as you will have plenty of lockouts this phase, it does still feel kind of bad. And one of the things we want...
Dude, he hinted at that. You're going to have plenty of lockouts this phase. Ooh, it's going to be a long phase, boys.
This season was too much feeling of FOMO. So by way of a compromise, what we're looking at doing this time is we will not delay the opening of the raid, but we will be putting the first 2 lockouts on kind of a normal weekly lockout timer. So that means that would reset on
that's actually a good fix. I like that.
Wednesday in Europe,
that's good.
And so on and so forth, whatever your regional unlock time or
I like
reset
that.
time is.
Yeah.
This means that the first lockout will occur on February 13th, again in North America, in the morning with maintenance, and then the second will occur the following Tuesday on February 20th, again in North America in the morning with maintenance. So each region you can offset for your regional maintenance time.
So basically you can do Gnomeregan once a week the first 2 weeks. Why the first 2 weeks though? Or am I reading this wrong? The first 2 lockouts will be weekly lockout. It comes out on the 8th. Yeah. Okay. They should have done that only for the first lockout. I don't know why they made it two lockouts. Okay.
Allows us to do is, if enable folks who really want to push day one to get in as fast as possible and get that first, like world first or server first clear, or just the bragging rights of saying you did it first. That's something that we don't want to take away from you. But this also reduces the number of lockouts that are possible in that time period, so that players who are leveling a little bit more casually or a little slower pace may not feel like they missed out on as much. It's not a perfect solution, and that's one thing we really want to stress, is that when you deal with a game like World of Warcraft and on this scale, there's no objectively correct answers. There are every decision we make, there's going to be people who like it and there's going to be people who would prefer something else. But we feel that this acknowledges both major perspectives without really depriving either group of something special. So we really hope that you like it, and we're going to keep looking at feedback on this. If this is something that works out well, we may carry this forward into future phases, and if not, we may just go back to the drawing board and try something else. But we really, really, really appreciate the time.
At least they're trying something. They're trying something
from the community on this. We've been watching social media, we've been watching forums, we've really been watching a lot of the commentary on this, and we couldn't have
I'm glad they're not delaying the raid. I think it would have been so
looking
stupid.
At and listening to what you guys are saying. So thank you so much for that. Next thing we want to talk about a little bit is PvP matchmaking. We realize that it can be frustrating to get
PvP matchmaking. Oh, pre-made changes.
However, we do still have significant concerns about completely bifurcating PvP queues into a separate PvP or small group queue. What this means essentially is if you're in a group of 5 or less, you'll have a dramatically higher chance to also get matched against groups of 5 or less. And if you're in a group of 6 or more, same deal, you'll have a higher chance to get matched against larger groups or full groups. If the queues are long or the matchmaker can't find a good group that fits within these parameters after a certain amount of time, it'll abandon these rules and go ahead and match you with the first available so you can at least play a game. But by and large, we feel that this will help the situation a lot.
It actually makes a lot of sense.
Queue up.
It should have always worked like this.
And not feel like they're always going against pre-made. We do want to stress again, though, that we firmly believe that activities like PvP Battlegrounds are just more fun and less stressful when players group up and coordinate. We can understand that if you just want a PvP and you don't want to join a group for it, it can be a little bit more frustrating than you feel it needs to be. But ultimately, coordination within your team, whether it's a pre-made or not, is going to be the key to success in any activity like organized.
Looking
PvP
for more Warzone goals, 315 gear score.
Even when queuing solo, we encourage you to be as positive team members and coordinate with your groups to have the best time possible. So next, another common question is that what the leveling buff will look like. We mentioned this at BlizzCon, that whenever the level cap increases, we will put in an XP buff for the previous level band. And so what you can expect, for that. Also, we've gotten a lot of questions about what you can expect if you say you've done all the quests available to you at level 25, and what do you do for leveling?
This is gonna be important, guys.
From like 25
Pay attention.
to 30 if you've done all those quests.
Pay attention.
So for the first question, we'll be providing a flat 50% XP buff from the 1 through 25 range, so that if you do start a new character or a new alt, or if you have a friend that's joining in phase 2, you should be able to get caught up to level 25 fairly quickly with that buff. The other thing that we're doing in order to help the second situation where you may feel like you've done all the quests you can and you're not sure how best to level, we are going to make the Blackfathom Deeps raid give a very significant amount of experience when cleared in phase 2. When
so you want to do BFD
whenever it's keeping the lockout it has now, a 3-day lockout, to encourage players not to just do it every single day and engage in other activities, but it will be very lucrative and worth doing as long as it continues to give experience, which will probably be sometime into the mid or late 30s. Lastly, Waylaid supplies are also seeing some adjustments. We're not quite ready to talk about the full suite of adjustments coming here because some of them are still undergoing tuning, but we are going to significantly increase the XP rewards for it, particularly in the ones from the 25 to 40 range. There will be new Waylaid supplies turn-ins.
But can you save these now and get XP? Like, hello?
And we're also looking at removing some of the frustrations from this. Again, not quite ready
I wonder
to talk about the full
if you can
details
save
there,
them.
But if you've had concerns with some of the frustrating aspects of them, then we're hoping to address some of those in the next phase as well. So stay tuned to look for a little bit more a little bit more information about that, and we'll have more as we get really close to patch or the phase launch. A few minor adjustments to Ashenvale are coming. There will be fewer people in Ashenvale specifically when the level cap increases. So we're going to go ahead and move the event to a rigid 3-hour timer. Similar to what Anna talked about with the Stranglethorn Vale event.
It always should have been like that.
Be every 3 hours on the
from day one. It should have been a 3-hour timer or something.
It will happen without player
fixed timer.
Do note though, we don't want to make you choose between doing an Ashenvale battle and a Stranglethorn Vale battle. So the Ashenvale timer will be offset by 1 hour from Stranglethorn. So if Stranglethorn starts at noon, this will start at 1
Wait, do you still want to do Ashenvale in next phase?
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that.
I guess you still get all the rewards.
That the Ashenvale battles continue. One other thing that is kind of a common question and topic is kind of what are we going to do with the world buffs in the next phase? Simply put, we're going to go ahead and cap them. The Ashenvale Weekly Cuss world buff is going to be capped at 39, and the Blackfathom Deeps world buffs also going to be capped at 39. So you can enjoy those.
Fuck word buffs.
But once you hit 40, you'll no longer basically be able to gain the benefit of those. Please also note that the Stranglethorn Vale PVP event will not actually have a world buff this time, but Gnomeregan will.
Fair enough.
Our goal is really to keep each phase
less word buffs. There's less word buffs.
But we don't want to add too much overhead to the evolving endgame. And we don't want it to be a slog to have to go all over the world to get all of these world buffs. And especially once we hit 60, we don't want you to have to slog through going all over the world and getting every world buff. So that's where we landed on that. We're obviously open to feedback on any of this.
Are they going to show the Gnomeregan word buff?
What you think. Profession specializations. This is
hopefully it has move speed too.
Really hot topic.
I really hope it has move speed.
Just like with phase 1, when we capped
it sucks if it doesn't have move speed.
With phase 2, we will be capping them at 225. And additionally, we've decided that profession specializations will also not be available until phase 3. So that's when the level cap goes to phase
That makes
3.
sense.
We feel that profession specializations outside of engineering and a few other exceptions are kind of lackluster at original WoW, and we really want to do something fun and cool here, and we really want to take our time to do it right.
Okay.
So phase 3, profession specializations are going to have a large focus, and obviously
I
we're
like
not
that,
talk
dude.
about it now, but
I like
stay tuned for more information on profession specializations as we move.
It makes sense because if you're capping them at 2 to 5, and then next phase, like, what's gonna happen? They're gonna become 300 at level 50? Probably not, right? So they gotta put something cool with specializations to compensate for no profession cap increase. I like that.
Another common question that we get that is somewhat frustrating to answer, simply because kind of the more we talk about it, the faster bad actors can work around our efforts, but it's botting and exploitative accounts in general. Botting is sort of a colloquial term that includes a lot of things, including just exploitative gameplay that players engage in. And it has a negative impact on the game. It really does. It's something we don't like. It's something we actually hate. We spend a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to combat. And while we can't really talk about the specifics of what we're doing, we do want to talk about some really exciting new tech that's coming with Phase 2. We've had this in limited testing on live, both in Classic of its various flavors and Modern for quite some time, and we've seen some very positive results from it. And so we want to set expectations that there's never going to be a time where World of Warcraft or really any online game is going to be completely free of bad actors and malicious accounts. But we're very positive about the results we've seen from
the
this
new tech voice. What's
really
it gonna be?
it rolled out.
Is it gonna work?
Paradoxically as well, kind of the more effective we are at some of these things, the more outwardly visible the bad actors can become. A lot of times following many of our ban waves, you may actually see increased bot activity as bot farms essentially spin up new accounts and start over. But there's been a few instances of this happening. We do a large ban wave, and then everyone, I see videos posted online of streams of bots going from one part of the world to the other. But when you see that stuff and when you report it, it actually helps us clamp down on that new method as well. And it gets the bot farms into a position where they are constantly kind of 2 steps forward and like 2 steps backwards. So that is really helpful. And as much as it's frustrating to see, we really want to encourage you to continue to help us by reporting things. And we're going to continue to do exhaustive work on our side for this issue. Always a frustrating thing, never easy to talk about, but we really appreciate your patience with us. So the last topic that we really want to talk about, and this is kind of a big one, is just jumping right into it, starting with Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. We're going to be experimenting with a new policy change. GDKP will no longer be permitted in Season of Discovery realms.
No way.
To kind of recap, for anyone who does not know what GDKP or gold bid raids or dungeons are, it's essentially a raid or a dungeon run where the loot rules is that
does also apply to gold bid.
Distributed is essentially.
I mean, he just said gold bid, like it must apply to gold bid as well, right? G-bid runs.
Then put up for bid.
I hope so.
Or whoever's doing.
I hope they ban G-bid as well.
And interested parties then bid gold.
I mean, it's the same thing. G-bid and GDKP are like the same thing. So
and when the gold is received, it's split within the participants of the raid. This is something we've been discussing for a very long time.
Yeah, gold bid raid / GDKP.
It's not a decision we arrived at lightly. It's fair to say that GDKP has some benefits to individuals who don't want to be tied to a traditional guild or set raid schedule. And GDKPs are, while largely transactional, another social activity in the game. And we're always hesitant to discourage anything that gets people in groups and playing together. However, we do remain concerned that GDKP erodes traditional guild and social structures that are in many cases the basis of our most fond memories of original World of Warcraft. And it's undeniable that GDKP contributes to and drives a lot of malicious accounts, illicit activity, RMT, botting, all of the things we just talked about. Season of Discovery is highly experimental in its nature, and we take chances. And this is another chance we're taking. We want to give an honest try to a version of World of Warcraft without GDKP present, and this is our best opportunity.
I think it's a good idea to try it out, right?
Phase 2 on February 8th.
Yeah, see what happens.
Will no longer be permitted in Season of Discovery. We're going to release additional communications with another.
Like not in all of WoW, it's just in SOD.
And, once we do,
not in Wrath or Era, just SOD. It's like an experiment.
What you think, and we're going to really monitor feedback closely on this. This is a test, and ultimately this decision came as a result of your feedback. And so, we want to hear more of what you think of this. We want to hear how it goes as we move through this next phase. And if it doesn't work out, we'll revisit this policy for future phases. We really appreciate everyone who has expressed that feedback and concerns on this topic. Thank you. So with that, I think we're done with today's presentation. Thank you so much. Heartfelt thanks from the WoW Classic development team. We've been just actually blown away by the reception to Season of Discovery. We are thrilled that so many of you have been enjoying it as much as we are, and we can't wait to see you in Phase 2. Thank you so much.
I'll link this in the chat.
Have a great weekend.
It's unlisted for some reason.
Goodbye.
Yeah, it's unlisted. That's why you guys can find it. This is really good though. Like I was not expecting them to ban GDKPs, man. Like I mean I thought they would do it, but like I was like, there's no way they would do it. Like there's no way, right? But they actually did it. That's crazy. And it does make a bit of sense, right? Like, if you're gonna try out banning GDKPs to see how it works, might as well do it in SOD, where it's like still a fresh game, right? That's pretty cool. Let's see how it goes, man. Like, maybe it's gonna be good, maybe it's gonna be bad. You can still do GDKPs in Rat. You can still do them in Era. So, you know, it's just in SOD they're getting banned. So yeah, this is the post about that. We are experimenting with a new policy which will no longer allow GDKP runs in Season of Discovery. While we understand that there are some benefits for those who find this a convenient way to gain gear, we also recognize that there are concerns surrounding the erosion of traditional guild and social structures that are part of the spirit of Season of Discovery. Given the experimental nature of Season of Discovery, we want to try things without this type of transaction taking place in this game mode. With the launch on February 8th, we will be restricting this activity. We will have more information to share on our official channels, and we will be monitoring feedback closely. I hope this also applies to GBID. There's no mention of GBID on this post. A GBID is when you bid out an item, like a GDKP, but then the leader keeps all the gold. Yeah, like, I hope it's also to GBID, you know. If GBidding is allowed, it'd be kind of weird, right? Because it is very similar to a GDKP. So I'm kind of guessing it's also GBid. Yeah, this is definitely going to be controversial, right? Like, there are people that don't like this. There are people that don't buy gold that are affected in a bad way, kind of like Crossfire. But I think what Blizzard is trying to do here is it's trying to make guilds more relevant, right? Because, like, if you log in right now to, like, pretty much not any server, but like a lot of servers, like, you just look at the word chat, it's just like GDKP, 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 software, GDKP. Like, at least my server, it feels like there's way more GDKPs than like non-GDKP rates happening. But it kind of depends though. Some servers, like, you don't see GDKPs. Some servers you see them less often. At least I'm speaking about my server here, right? They're probably trying to make people want to be in a guild more. And that's kind of like the spirit of Classic, I guess. I mean, right now, it's just like very convenient, I think, to pug a 10-man raid. That's why people are doing a lot of GDKPs, because it's a form of pugging, right? It's very easy to find a raid and join one. But I feel like once you're doing 40-man raids at level 60, GDKPs would have probably been even more lucrative to people because of how hard it is to get loot in a 40-man raid. And it's going to incentivize more people to buy gold. They're not really a big problem right now, because, like, imagine buying gold to get 10-man gear. People do it still, but, like, come on, right? It's so easy to get 10-man gear. But getting 40-man gear, that's a lot harder, because, like, you know, you got to roll against 4 times more people for every single item. So you're going to have more people wanting to buy gold and, you know, use that gold to get gear when it's 40-man GDKPs versus the 10-man GDKPs. This could be like an action Blizzard is taking ahead of time before the issue becomes a real issue. Because right now, I don't think it's a big deal. But because it's like, you know, you can just join a soft res easily and stuff like that. But it is already becoming crazy, though. Like, at least on my server, I'm like, okay, guys, let's do a BFD. And I can't find a raid because the entire channel is spammed with GDKPs. You know, it kind of depends on the time of the day. I think if you're raiding before, I don't know, 6 p.m., there's a lot more GDKPs than non-GDKP raids. And then as you get closer to the, you know, after office hours, you see a bit more variety. So, yeah, I don't know how I personally feel about this. Like, I haven't done a single GDKP in SOD because I felt like just not doing them, you know, like, I do them all the time in Rat, so it's like I don't want to do the same thing I do in Rat in SOD. So I've just been doing guild runs, MSOS runs, sometimes soft res runs. But yeah, definitely I feel bad for those people out there that, you know, they want to just get gold for raiding, but it is what it is. Like, you know, you kind of caught in the crossfire on this one. If you're like a full bisque geared player, then you just raid for the sake of raiding, right? You're not gonna get gold while raiding anymore. It is what it is. Don't worry, people will find ways to circumvent this. You know, you can always invite somebody to your raid and be like, hey, I'll roll on this item for you, but you gotta give me like 20 gold. whatever, right? I mean, it's gonna happen, but at the same time, this is gonna reduce the amount of gold for item transaction and raids dramatically. Like probably by over 90%. You know, there will still be people that do GDKPs on like Discords. Who cares? Okay, like that's not the majority of players. There will be carry runs though. Obviously, carry runs. There've been a thing in Rat where you make a raid, and then you sell like an item in the raid for a certain amount of price before you even do the raid. So like you sell the trinket on the last boss in BFD for like 50 gold to this guy, you know, before to even do the raid. It's like a pre-sale, right? Those will probably still happen. But yeah, I think they technically might violate this rule. I mean, I don't know, like what they're gonna give more information about this because it's kind of vague right now. Like here they wrote gold bid raid / GDKP. Does Blizzard not know the difference between gold bid and GDKP? Or are they distinguishing both of them? I hope they know the difference. So, because it's not mentioned here. And G-bids are really popular as well. So, a lot of people do G-bid in Rat especially. Oh yeah, so these are the runes, right? Oh, we got Druid. We didn't see the Druid runes on the PowerPoint. Eclipse. Starfire increases the critical strike chance of your next 2 rats by 30%. And Rat increases the critical strike chance of your next Starfire by 30%. Both effects stacking up to 4 charges. Both spells also gain 70% chance at all times to not lose casting time when you take damage. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Alright, so we're seeing some boomy buffs over here. That's nice, that's nice. That's gonna be very good for raiding. And then we got King of the Jungle, bro. This is insane, guys. Hello. Wow. Wow. Oh my god. Woo. That's a buff. That is a buff right there, bro. Tiger's Fury now increases all physical damage you deal by 15% instead of a flat value, and instantly grants you 60 energy. It is no longer on a global cooldown, but is now on its own 30-second cooldown. I mean, that's just crazy, right? Like every 30 seconds, you're getting 60 energy and a 15% damage buff. Like, wow. You know, like, that's... I mean, keep in mind, right? Feral Druids might not be doing the power shifting gameplay next phase, so they kind of need this when you think about it. But still, like, that's huge. You know, you can always, like, shift, pop this, instantly do a shred, gain your energy tick, and then do another shred, and then another shred. 3 shreds with a 15% physical damage buff. I mean, wow. Okay. Druid's gonna pump. And yeah, we already saw these. I think Hunter gets some insane runes. Like Hunter, Druid gets insane runes. Mage gets one really good rune for Arcane. Again, this, I don't know if you're gonna... it's hard to say, right? Like, you might use this as Frost or Fire, but it's more meant for Arcane. This, I don't know much. I don't really understand it. Holy Paladin gets some really good runes, I would say. Shadow Priest as well, and then Healer Priest for PvP. Rogue is, I don't know. I mean, good rune for PvP right here. But yeah. Shaman gets some 2 really good runes. 1 situationally good rune. Warlock. Yeah, nice one, Warlocks. And then Warrior gets like 1 insane rune and then 1 okay. You know, no one's gonna use that rune. Maybe in PvP. Maybe, I don't know, like, Blizzard keeps adding runes in the game that don't make any sense in Classic. Because, in my opinion, right, Classic WoW raiding is very easy, you know. So, like, these runes, you know, like, okay, maybe for PvP, right? But still, like, I don't know why in a raid, in Classic WoW raid, where bosses just are not that dangerous, you would need to use a Rallying Cry or a Divine Sacrifice for Paladin, so... Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there's a boss in the future that's like, hey, you need a Rallying Cry Warrior, otherwise you're gonna die. Fair enough. We'll see. These are... Oh, yeah, so yeah, basically, Gnomeregan will be not delayed, but the first 2 raids, the first 2 lockouts will be 7-day lockouts. So, well, I mean, the first one's more like 6 days, right? Or 5 days, whatever you want to call this. So as you can see here, it resets on the 13th, and then the second one on the 20th, right? So you don't have to rush leveling. If you don't make it by the 13th, level 40, you have till the 20th to not lose 2 lockouts. So it's kind of nice. I think this is a good compromise. If you're like a sweaty player that wants to raid Gnomeregan 24/7, just level your alts. Yeah, like, you know, don't worry about it, right? I think it's a good compromise. It's better than delaying the raid. And I hear you have the information about the Stranglethorn Vale. So it's going to be a 3-hour cooldown event. It lasts 30 minutes. And basically, you need to kill players to get currencies that can be traded for various rewards. While you can still group up with your allies for the event, the Blood Moon is a harsh mistress and will punish those in raid groups. So you don't want to be in a raid group, guys. I like that, okay? No more layer, you know, like... I mean, people will find a way to circumvent this by, like, joining a raid and then leaving, but it's kind of cool. I like it. I like that. I think the whole idea of like 40-man raids doing world PvP sounds cool in theory, but in reality, it just doesn't really work out that well, right? But yeah, people will still run together, obviously. You just won't be in that one raid group. But yeah, I think they're trying to do something better here. We'll see how it actually plays out. People will always find a way to circumvent it. For those who would rather live in peace and harmony with the land, you can opt out of the event by speaking with the Zandalari emissary. You will not be able to earn any rewards from the event if you opt out, and general realm PvP rules will still apply. So you can like decide to not participate in the event by opting out. Okay. Wait, that actually makes a lot of sense. You know why that's in the game? It's because there might be people just leveling in the zone, and it's very hard to level when there's like 1,000 people running around at level 40 on their mounts and raid gear. So obviously level 30 Billy, you know, on his druid won't have a good time. So he can opt out of the event and just quest. Yeah, I see that. That makes sense, right? That was always kind of my concern. Like, what do I do if I'm like leveling in STV and there's like all these high level players running around killing everybody? Like, it's kind of hard to do anything. So if you want, you can opt out. You don't get any rewards though. So maybe it's worth it to stay for the rewards. These are some of the PvP rewards you get. This is an item only for mages, which is a ring with 16 fire spell power. Now, I know there's one more of these rewards, so like as a mage, like, what if you don't want to play fire? I don't know. So if there's only one of these, it's kind of weird. But still, 16 fire damage is a lot on a ring. And then Warrior gets a awkward speed mace, but with really good stats. So, and you also get these cool mounts. I think they look really nice. There are also new quests which will help you earn Arati Basin reputation. This event will not have an associated world buff. Nice, so there's not gonna be a new world buff tied to STV that works in the raid. No more 5% buff. That's amazing. I really like that. All right. Yeah. So here we have Gnomeregan loot. I kind of already went over this. I think it's the same shit, right? It's going to be level 40, 10-man raid, 6 bosses. This is like the crowd pummeler area. They moved them. There's like a little arena. And then the last boss has suits. So you have to wear suits. Yeah, we already went over these, right? Like, it's the same items. But dungeon skill books coming in SOT Phase 2. So these are gonna be like quality of life items. So you get a book. They will have new skill books added as part of a 5-player dungeon drops from various creatures. So these are not runes. They're like books that enhance your class. So like you get longer blessings. You have redirectors or rogue to change your combo points to put them on your target. So these are really cool as well. What else we have here? Season of Discovery Talent Calculator updated. Oh, these are like the new runes that we know about added. Okay. World buff changes in Gnomeregan. Alright, so basically the word buffs from BFD and also Ashen Vale will not be working past level 39. So that's kind of cool. You're not gonna have to get all these word buffs all the time. You just gotta get the Gnomeregan buff. There's a new buff, Gnomeregan buff. We don't know what it is. That's the buff you want to worry about next phase. You don't want to have to get the BFD buff and the Gnomeregan buff, the Ashen Vale buff. It's only the Gnomeregan buff. These are like profession items added. It's kind of cool. We already went over these. It's gonna be a bit weird as a clot. If you're a mage and you want to be pumping on the boss, you gotta make sure you have this thing ready. Because what it does is it will lower the mana cost of all your spells by 50% and increase your damage by 50 for 12 seconds on a 10-minute cooldown. So once you pop this, you're going to pump. When it's not ready, you're going to tell your raid leader, hey man, can we take a 10-minute break? It's not ready. But yeah, that's a huge item right there. Absolutely insane. And then we had a post about them having some new technology for banning bots in the next phase. Well, there you go. They are, trying to deal with the bots. It's still really bad. If I log in right now to, let me just pick a server. A server that I know that there's a lot of bots. Lone Wolf, yes. We have a character already here, Go XD, who always is checking on the bots. And if you just do a /who Shadowfang keep and search rogue /who shadow rogue, we got 21 rogues in Shadowfang keep. Honestly, this is not that bad. This is less than usual, guys. We have less rogues online. Maybe it's working. Yeah. Normally this is 50. Now I do wonder that if the ban about GDKPs is gonna have a negative effect on the botting market. I mean, hopefully, right? We're gonna see maybe less bots farming gold because there's less people buying gold. Hey, so we'll see what happens. This could honestly be like a domino effect scenario. If there's less people willing to buy gold because there's less things to do with the gold, then there's less bots farming the gold, and then Blizzard has less bots to ban. So then the bots that they do find, they got a bigger target on their back because there's less people botting. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I feel like the more bots there are, the safer you are as a bot, because it's harder to find you as a specific bot when there's like a lot of you. Like if I have to report 200 bots, I'm probably gonna miss some people, right? But if there's only 5 bots, then they're easier to spot and easier to get banned. It's like the law of numbers, So yeah, we could actually just have a better game on our hands here. I don't know, we'll see. Like, I always thought that like banning GDKPs is an extreme solution, but maybe they had to do it, right? And the game is still pretty early. You know what I mean? It's still like SOD has been out for like 2.5 months. It's still in its infancy. So if you're gonna crack down on this and do a ban, you want to do it early, right? You don't want to do it when it's been a year of SOD already, and most people have probably stopped playing. Unexpected news, I would say, guys. I did not know that this would ever happen. Like, I woke up to a lot of news, dude. Like, there was an entire 32-minute PowerPoint presentation of Phase 2, pretty much. It's kind of like the same thing you get at the BlizzCon, right? They do this PowerPoint presentation where they go over all the expansion changes. And in a weird way, Phase 2 does feel like an expansion, right? You're going to be going to completely new zones in the sense of, you can't really be there right now. It doesn't make sense. And you're going to have increased level cap. You're going to have new spells. Your class gets new spells and new runes. You're gonna have a new raid. You're gonna be doing new dungeons. It actually does feel like an expansion. Hey, look at this, bro. This guy's squeezing in the GDKPs, man, while he can. Yeah, do them while you can, boys. All right. Yeah, I mean, you can't get banned for them right now. It's only after the 8th, so don't be reporting people, okay? Don't be reporting people. What's the news about GDKP? From the 8th of February, it will not be allowed anymore. Probably also GBID runs. I hope it's also GBID runs. But yeah, we'll see. Basically, Blizzard's take on the whole thing is kind of like, it's against the spirit of Classic, and it like takes away from like the social guild experience. That's kind of what they said, I believe. I don't think they mentioned too much about RMT involving it. They didn't really touch too much on that, right? It was more of the spirit of raiding with a guild. So, at least from what I remember, they did. Okay, I don't remember that part at least. But yeah, they obviously are a part of the gold buying infrastructure, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I heard from some people that, you know, maybe right now, like, the price of gold is going down because people are, you know, not buying it as much. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this will have a really positive effect on the whole black market. I hope so.